Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My name is Matt Morris. We are live right now at Matt Morris TV on Rumble, Matt Morris TV on YouTube as well. Please make sure to like and to subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, today is officially day number 38 of the ongoing shutdown of the federal government. And just hours ago, the Democrats under Chuck Schumer's leadership voted for the 15th time to keep this government shut down. Now, we have some breaking news. We have come to find out that actually Chuck Schumer's original plan was to capitulate to President Trump and the Senate Republicans and reopen the federal government following Tuesday night's elections. You saw the New Jersey gubernatorial election. You saw the New York City mayoral election. Now, Chuck Schumer has changed his mind because Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, they believe that because they did so well in these elections on Tuesday night 3 days ago, today's Friday, happy Friday, everybody, that they want to actually pursue a different strategy now. So their new plan, I kid you not, and folks, Lord knows we have a lot to talk about today. Chuck Schumer's new plan is actually to keep this government shut down until midterms, which is, check my calendar, almost precisely 12 months from now. That is the new plan. Although 80% of SNAP recipients are Democrat voters, although already so far on day number 38 now, we are already seeing massive flight and travel delays, if not flight cancellations and total shutdowns altogether. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, they have decided that their new plan, their new strategy moving forward is to just not reopen the government, to keep the government shut down for 12 months so that they've got something to campaign on because midterm season is coming forward. Excuse me, I'm choking here. That is, unless the Senate Republicans agree to capitulate to Chuck Schumer's new demands. You see Chuck Schumer today in the Senate chambers, where they voted for the 15th time to keep the government shut down. Chuck Schumer actually floated publicly his new offer, his new very gracious offer to the Republicans. Now, we're going to talk about this offer. He has a new one. We're going to talk about this offer a lot today, and we're going to break it down. Chuck Schumer, the Democrats, they know that this offer is completely unacceptable. And the reason why Chuck Schumer has floated this unacceptable offer is because he knows the Republicans are not going to agree with it. And so it's all about optics. It's all about making this illusion. The Democrats want to say, well, we're trying to work with the Republicans. They're not. This offer they have floated is completely unacceptable. And I'm going to break down why today. Because really what the Democrats want, what Chuck Schumer wants, is to keep this government shut down until midterms so that they have a talking point, a campaign point. And so, folks, like I said today, we have a lot to talk about. We are going to break it down. We have a lot to break down today. But before we do, I want to say real quick, everybody make sure to like and to subscribe if you enjoy the content. Thank you very much for being here. It's a Friday night. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. Now, the first thing I want to share with you folks is this report. This came out early in the morning before the senators voted for the 15th time this afternoon. The news was this morning, Senator John Thune announced that they were very close. They were very close to making a deal with the Democrats to reopen the government, but that deal has fallen through. It's over. That was this morning before the Democrats went public with their new plan. Really, this deal that they were on the cusp of making to reopen the government, this deal really, as we now know, fell through Tuesday night, the second the Democrats had some modicum of success in these blue state elections. Now, John Thune said, I think we were close, but the Democrats have gone in a different direction. I think, again, being browbeaten by their leadership. Well, like I said, why do you think the Democrats have gone in a different direction just in the last couple days? It's because of this. It's because of this success the Democrats had on Tuesday night. So in Chuck Schumer's brain, he's thinking to himself, really all the Democrats are thinking to themselves, well, listen, this shutdown helped us win some of these elections on Tuesday night. It helped us, maybe, this is what they think. It helped Mamdani win. It helped their gubernatorial candidate in New Jersey win, in Virginia. It helped Jay Jones win, the Virginia State Attorney General. So the Democrats right now, in their crazy minds, they are attributing Tuesday night's success to the shutdown. And so they have then said, wait a minute, why don't we just keep the government shut down for another 12 months? If it helped us on Tuesday night, then maybe it's going to help us with midterms. Let's just keep this government shut down for another 12 months. We can campaign on this as we head into midterms. And so, folks, this is where we get to what has gone on today. And we have a lot to go through. So, everybody, thank you for bearing with me. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats this afternoon in the Senate chamber have unveiled their brand new alternative plan. They are now asking for a 1-year extension for the Obamacare subsidies. And so I don't expect everybody here to know what the Obamacare subsidies are. I'm going to explain that to you. So bear with me here for a moment, but you're going to know all of the details here, and you're going to know why this is so unacceptable. Schumer's counter proposal to GOP plan to reopen the government, and Schumer is asking the Republicans to just say yes. Yeah, I bet they are asking that. Senate Democrats unveiled their brand new alternative to the Republicans' plan to reopen the government that would see an extension to expiring Obamacare credits for 1 year, asking the Republicans to, quote, just say yes. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer announced the plan in dramatic fashion on the Senate floor Friday afternoon, a couple hours ago, with the backdrop of the Senate Democratic Caucus in a bid to show a tangible version of the newfound unity amongst Democrats since their Election Day sweep earlier this week. So, listen, folks, now the truth is out there. We all know the reason why why this shutdown went on for so long is because the Democrats were waiting to see what happened with Tuesday night's elections. If they had lost or not had a high amount of success on these elections, then they would have capitulated and opened up the government. If they won, if they did have, and they did, a reasonable amount of success on Tuesday night, then they're going to keep the government shut down. So that election night, Tuesday night, that really was the make or break. And they have decided, well, Tuesday night went well enough for us that now we're keeping the government shut down. We're not reopening it. And they want to keep it shut down for the entire year. Now, Schumer offered to attach a 1-year extension to the expiring Obamacare subsidies and to create a bipartisan committee that could negotiate further on how to deal with the subsidies after the government reopened. A clear nod to the GOP's position that negotiations won't happen until after the government is reopened. Now, real quick, folks, these subsidies that Chuck Schumer wants for another year, we're going to talk about these a lot, but just so everybody knows right now what we're talking about, these Obamacare subsidies include, in part, $50 billion per year worth of healthcare coverage for illegal aliens, which is, like I said, completely unacceptable. And so this is almost a poison-pilled offer. Chuck Schumer knows that the Republicans are not going to agree to these Obamacare subsidies because they include $50 billion per year in healthcare for illegal aliens. Chuck Schumer knows the Republicans are not going to say yes. So it's all about the optics. Chuck Schumer can come out here in public and he can say, oh, we're trying so hard. We're trying to have an agreement with the Republicans. It's poison-pilled. There is a poison pill, and the poison pill is, I'm not even talking about all the other components of the Obamacare subsidies here, which are dubious at best. This is just downright rotten. $50 billion healthcare for illegal aliens. Not going to happen. Chuck Schumer knows that. This is a poison-pilled offer. What he really wants is a shutdown that extends for another 12 months. That is what he wants, so the Democrats can campaign on this. Chuck Schumer said today, Democrats are ready to clear the way to quickly pass a government funding bill that includes health care affordability for illegal aliens. Chuck Schumer said, Leader Thune just needs to add a clear 1-year extension of the Obamacare tax credits to the continuing resolution so that we can immediately address rising health care costs. That's not a negotiation. It's an extension of current law, something we do all the time. Now, when he says extension of current law, these Obamacare tax credits and subsidies here, these were temporarily passed during COVID by the Biden administration. They were never meant to be permanent. Okay. So he's, in fact, like from the get-go, when they were originally passed, I think in 2021, during the peak of the COVID pandemic, these were meant to be temporary relief for Americans. And now Chuck Schumer wants to keep them going because what does he want? He wants healthcare for illegal aliens. That's why. And Also, he knows that this is not going to be agreeable for the Republicans. He went on to say, now the ball is in the Republicans' court. We need the Republicans to just say yes. Yeah, we're not going to say yes. We are not going to say yes. And by the way, full disclosure, before we continue getting into this, any Republican that does say yes to this, I don't think any of them are going to, but conceivably, any Republican in the Senate that does say yes to this needs to be primaried. They need to lose their job. And as I'll tell you, just disclosure here, as things currently seem, it doesn't seem like any of them are going to say yes. However, conceivably, if any of them do say yes, these Republicans, if they agree to give $50 billion of health care per year to illegal aliens, these guys got to be kicked out of the Senate. This is totally unacceptable. We're going to keep reading here. Whether Senate Majority Leader John Thune and Senate Republicans will accept the offer remains in the air. Republicans are set to meet Friday afternoon and are expected to discuss the Democrats' olive branch, as it's being called. Well, that meeting has taken place now. We actually know, and I'm going to share that with you here in a moment. We know what the Republican response is, and I think you guys are going to like it. We're almost there. Initially, Thune had planned to hold a vote on the House-passed bill as a means to amend it and attach a trio of spending bills in a package known as a minibus to jumpstart the government funding process. So they wanted today to start funding some of our highly important, highly critical federal employees like air traffic controllers. That fell through. The Democrats didn't want to do it. However, that plan was canned Friday morning after Thune charged that the wheels came off ongoing bipartisan discussions with the Senate Democrats. So yeah, there's that. It all depends on whether or not the Republicans accept the Senate Democrats' offer. Well, we know the response. And let's start talking about the response here. Breaking in a moment of defiance, John Thune's office tells Chuck Schumer no, he will not give in to Chuck Schumer's demands on Obamacare to reopen the government. A statement here says, cracks are forming after 38 days. The Democrats abandon their original and equally unserious proposal. Extending the COVID bonuses is the negotiation, something that can only take place after the government reopens, release the hostage, end the pain, and then we can have our conversation. So John Thune, Senate Republican leader, has said, no, we're not doing this. These Obamacare subsidies, we are not doing this because of the $50 billion per year for illegal aliens. We're not doing it. Now, House Speaker Mike Johnson, he chimes in also this afternoon. He says, Chuck Schumer's one-year Obamacare subsidy extension to reopen the government is DOA in the House. He will not pass it in the House either, because this would have to go back to the House. So the Republican House is not going to do this. The Republican Senate is not going to do this. Now, this is Republican Steve Daines. This is a great, exceptional, nitty-gritty explanation of just how terrible and unacceptable this entire dynamic is, this offer that's being presented by Chuck Schumer. I want you guys to watch this because this is a perfect explanation of really what's going on here. Take a look.
But you saw what Schumer just offered on the floor. It's nonsense. It's a non-starter. Let me just step back for a moment and define the problem. Obamacare premiums have gone up 220% since it was implemented in 2014. Remember, Barack Obama said Obamacare was going to lower health care costs by $2,500. That was the promise. It's up 221%.
That is right.
These now subsidies that were put in place temporarily by the Democrats during COVID are set to expire. They were never meant to be permanent. What Chuck Schumer's asking is to now extend these temporary subsidies that are paid to Americans, like we're a family of two that make over $100,000 a year. But where do these subsidies go? They go directly to the insurance companies. So it's doing nothing to address the issue of the unaffordability of Obamacare and health care. Their stock prices, Larry, if you look at the major health care insurance companies over that same period of time, going back to 2014, are up 500% to over 1,000%. So the insurance companies are making out like bandits, while the American people, frankly, are feeling the pain of Obamacare. And remember one final point. When you think about how many Americans are on the exchange, receive Obamacare, it's 7%. So 93% of the American people receive their health care through Medicare, through Medicaid, through private health care. Yep. It's 7% that receive it through Obamacare, and it's a much smaller subset of that 7% that actually get this subsidy paid to the insurance company, not even to the consumer. And so the Democrats, bottom line, are shutting down the entire government, disrupting air travel, not paying the troops because of these subsidies that were always meant to expire. That's the fight. So what did Chuck Schumer just do? He says, let's extend them another year. We're not going to do that without significant reforms at best. 20% of these subsidies are fraudulent. Oh. This is a terrible $50 billion a year fraudulent subsidy program that we have got to stop or dramatically reform. We're not going to let Chuck Schumer extend it another year. That's what he proposed here about an hour ago. It's nonsense.
And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this subsidy fraud, $50 billion a year, all the money that is not going into the big pharmaceutical companies and the healthcare provider companies, okay, that's never making its way to actual Americans. The money that allegedly it's actually fraudulent, a lot of it, 20% of it, to the tune of $50 billion a year. And it's going to who? Illegal aliens that shouldn't even be here in the first place. This entire situation is absolutely disgusting. And Chuck Schumer knows what he's doing. He knows this proposal is unacceptable to any sensible American. And the reason why Chuck Schumer has offered such an insane proposal is because he knows it's going to get rejected. He doesn't want the Republicans to accept this. He knows it's going to get rejected because it's so unacceptable. Really, what he wants is the government shutdown to extend another 12 months into midterms. That's his dream right now, so that the Democrats have something to complain about and campaign on for the next 11 and a half or 12 months. It's absolute insanity. Now, we hear from another Republican senator, Senator Kennedy, John Kennedy. He says, the short answer is no. The long answer is hell no. Republicans are now openly telling Chuck Schumer to screw off with his Obamacare demands to reopen the government. It's not happening. The answer is no. The long answer is hell no. Now, I want to play. He actually goes on a 3.5 minute just fiery monologue here coming out of this Senate session today. I want to play this for you because this entire situation is just absolutely nuts.
What is your response to Chuck Schumer's proposal here to keep those ACA benefits going for another year, bipartisan committee to work on those, and reopen the government with the clean CR?
God, please give me patience, because if you give me strength, I'm going to need bail money. What Senator Schumer is suggesting is that we do the dumbest thing possible that won't work. Stupid should hurt more. Senator Schumer says we should just extend the status quo for a year. What does that mean? That means that we would have to take $35 billion of taxpayer money and give it directly to the health insurance companies without any commitment of lowering premiums.
That's right.
How is that going to reduce health care costs?
It's not.
How's that going to reduce premiums? The health care companies are going to take $35 billion from the taxpayers and put it into their pockets. I mean, duh. Mm-hmm.
Real quick, you know who made the most money during COVID, which is when these subsidies were rolled out? Who benefited the most? Who loved every single day of the COVID pandemic? You know who loved it the most? Healthcare industry, pharmaceutical companies. They were profiteering off of this entire dynamic. All the vaccine mandates. Well, guess who's making money from all the vaccine mandates? The vaccine manufacturers. Their stock price, their revenue went through the absolute roof, and they want that again. And that's what this is a part of as well, to a certain degree.
I don't know what Senator Schumer is thinking. Earth to Chuck. I mean, earth to Chuck. Am I going to vote for this? The short answer is no.
Nope.
The long answer is hell no. I think we're just going to have to get used to the fact that we've been in a shutdown We're going to be in a shutdown for a while. I voted 14 times to lift the shutdown. The Democrats and Senator Rand Paul have voted 14 times to keep the government shut down. We're just going to be here for a while.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like what Senator Schumer just proposed is really any different than where Democrats have been all along. They wanted $1.5 trillion. You say $36 billion. I guess there's a lot of different numbers on this package, but to keep the Obamacare benefits were expanded during COVID. And of course, once you give something, very hard to claw it back. So that's where we are right now. And so the impact of having that extension pulled away is making people's new health care benefits rise. But as you say, it's not fixing the problem in terms of lowering costs. Is there any, I just spoke with the former Governor Sununu, and he said, what they need to do is accept Senator Thune's next proposal and agree on it and get Democrats across the board on it. What do you think that is going to look like?
He's just going to bring up the same resolution that he's brought up 14 times. Look, if we've learned anything during this shutdown, we've learned that the Obamacare Affordable Care Act exchanges, they're not working. They're not lowering health care costs.
No, they're not.
Extending the status quo will just be putting fresh paint on rotten wood.
So,
Why would we want to do that?
Excuse me. President Trump has a solution, and he talked about it again today.
Well, yes, he does. President Trump does have a solution, and we are about to talk about that next. I've been talking a lot about what that solution is. I'll give you a hint. The N-word, and that word is nuclear. And we're going to hear from President Trump because President Trump chimed in on all of this multiple times today. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, not only has Obamacare not made healthcare more affordable for anyone in the country, it has proven to be effectively a slush fund, a money laundering scheme, a Democrat slush fund, and a way in which the Democrats can steal federal taxpayer money and redistribute it to illegal aliens, which is exactly what they're trying to do, again, right this very moment, to the tune of $50 billion a year through an extension of these Obamacare subsidies for 12 months. 12 months, $50 billion healthcare for illegal aliens. That is what they want. That is one component. That is 20% of this entire subsidy package. Absolutely insane. But once again, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, they know that the Republicans are not going to agree to this. They have no delusions or false aspirations that the Republicans will agree to this because they know themselves how rotten it is. Really what they want is to float this idea, to float this offer, to make the nation believe that they are willing to work with the Republicans. They're not. This is a poison-pilled offer. Really what they want is the shutdown to continue until midterms. So they've got something to campaign on. President Trump chimes in on this entire dynamic earlier today. Take a look.
We have a shutdown, as you probably know, because the Democrats have gone, they're crazy. They're crazy.
Yeah.
But they don't care if they hurt the country. But we've approved it 14 times. We've approved a opening up 14 times, and they keep rejecting it. And I guess maybe they will again. Let's see what happens. They want to have a lot of bad things happen, bad things for our country. We're not going to give $1.5 trillion to people that came into our country illegally. We're not going to do it. To people came from prisons. They came from mental institutions, drug dealers. They want to give them medical care. We have a...
And that's exactly what they want to do. And now we have a big super chat here I want to take a look at real quick. This is Concrete Lizard. He says, there should be no party on either side, all independents, no group votes, just independent votes to get things done so we have a fully functional opinion from the people without restriction. One can dream. One can dream, I suppose. Is that going to happen anytime soon? Probably not, but maybe it's not a bad idea. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. President Trump has been talking about going nuclear. In fact, today's video that I made earlier today, I'm sure many of you have seen that. President Trump right now is sort of engaging in a battle on two different fronts. Trump right now is battling against the Democrats, trying to get Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats to reopen the government. Yeah, putting pressure on them, reopen the government. But also, President Trump right now is in a battle against the Senate Republicans, a battle of sorts, We need 51 Republican senators. We have 53 of them in total. Trump wants 51 of them to vote to drop a nuclear bomb on the filibuster rule. And only 9 of the 53 have agreed to do so. So Trump right now is every day waging a public pressure campaign on the Senate Republicans, trying to put pressure on them to agree with him, blow up the filibuster. Let's, go over the heads of the Democrats, cut them out of the picture. We don't need to work with them, blow up the filibuster, and go full steam ahead with the America First agenda. Now, like we said, only 9 of them have agreed to do that so far. President Trump on Truth Social today, he said the United States Senate should not leave town until they have a deal to end the Democrat shutdown. If they can't reach a deal, the Republicans should terminate the filibuster immediately and take care of our great American workers. So what is Trump saying? Trump is saying, I fully expect you Senate Republicans to solve this problem. And if you don't, guess what? Nobody gets to go on vacation. No vacations for anybody. You are not leaving Washington, D.C. until you solve this problem. Either you work out a deal, you get the Democrats to capitulate, or you go nuclear. One or the other, no other options. Now, I wanted to pull up this image here for you folks. I've got this saved. We actually have a list of where the current Republican senators stand. Like I said, there are 9 Republican senators: Boozman, Banks, Cornyn, Hawley, Tuberville, Johnson, Justice, Marshall, Moreno, 9 that are willing to go nuclear. We have all of these other ones, all of these other 44 in total that are, maybe not, I don't want to do it, I'm still thinking about it. So what Trump is doing, like I said, what Trump is doing right now is a public pressure campaign. Trump wants us, the American people, Republican voters, MAGA, America First voters, he wants us to put pressure on these people, on these senators. Call them up, send an email, send a letter, do your job, go nuclear, get off the sidelines. It's time to save the country. Listen to the president. Listen to President Trump. Listen to we the people. We have a massive super chat right here on YouTube. This is from Ammo Jeffy. This is $49.99. He didn't even leave a message. Thank you. Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Folks, I'm getting fed up with the Senate Republicans. I remember, Ronald Reagan, one of the late great Republican presidents. What was Ronald Reagan's golden rule? Ronald Reagan's golden rule was never criticize another Republican. Never criticize another Republican. Listen, I'm sorry. Listen, Ronald Reagan, I'm sorry. What do we do when our Republicans aren't doing anything? What do we do when our Republicans are really only Republican in name only? They refuse to be subordinate to the will of the American people. That's us. They refuse to listen to the president of the United States. That's Donald Trump. What do we do when Trump top down is saying Republicans do something, go nuclear? We, the people, bottom up, we are saying Republicans do something, go nuclear. So we've got top down, bottom up pressure on these guys. Do your job, go nuclear. And 44 out of 53 of them are saying, I don't feel like it. Maybe not. I just don't want to do it. What do you do? Now, President Trump, like I said, he's putting on this public pressure campaign. He goes on, he added a little bit more information here. Take a look.
The Democrats are going to do that. And most of you will admit the Democrats are going to do that. So why aren't we doing it?
Yep.
And I think only a foolish person would be against that, especially when you realize that these are crazed people. These people are absolutely crazed, Trump derangement syndrome, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And I am totally in favor of terminating the filibuster. And we would be back to work within 10 minutes after that vote took place. And lots of other good things would happen. And it doesn't make any sense that a Republican would not want to do that.
If they're not going to do that, then it seems like you'd have to make a deal with Democrats to end the shutdown.
Here's some of the things that would pass if we terminated the filibuster. Voter ID, no mail-in voting, no cash bail, no men and women's sports, no welfare for illegals. You could go on and on. This is 2 pages of things we'd do if you did that. Without it, I don't know that you passed anything because you can't deal with them. They're really irrational. They really are. You know,
Well, they're irrational, they're deranged, they are anti-American. Ladies and gentlemen, there can be no bipartisan solution or bipartisan agreement with people that hate you, with people that are actively trying to destroy the republic. There can be no bipartisan solution or bipartisan agreement with somebody like Chuck Schumer or the rest of these radically progressive Democrats in the Senate or the House or wherever else they may be. These people are insane. They hate you. They want you replaced with illegal aliens. They want you to pay for the health care of illegal aliens. They want the border to be open. They want this country to become a communist dystopia. There can be no bipartisan handshaking. There can be no solution or agreement with evil. And that is exactly what we're dealing with. So what happens? You must defeat evil. You must crush evil. In this case, what must be done to do that? We must go nuclear. We must supersede them. We must cut them entirely out of the equation. And we must pass so many pieces of America First legislation through the House and the Senate that the Democrats will never be able to regain control of this country again, that they will never be able to do the damage that they did during the Biden era to this country again. We need to completely shut them down. And we can do that. Like he says, like Trump says, we can do that now. We could do it. We could do it within the next 10 minutes. We could do that now. We could, if the Senate Republicans would go to the Senate right now, what is it, 7:32 p.m. on the East Coast, go into the Senate chamber, go nuclear, and they already have a lot of this legislation passed through the House, voter ID, the SAVE Act. You could do all of this, no cash bail. You could have all of this passed by the end of the night before any of us even go to bed. We could save the country within the next 3 hours. But they won't do it. I said this in my video this morning. Could you imagine if George Washington had to appeal to the Senate GOP to support him in his crossing of the Delaware, fighting the British, the Revolutionary War to liberate the colonies and create this country in the first place? It wouldn't have happened. Nothing would have happened. We would still be a British colony if George Washington had at his back all these Senate Republicans, because they would sit there on their hands doing nothing, saying, I don't know, seems pretty risky. I don't know, seems pretty risky. I don't know, man, I'm scared. I don't want to do it. Thank God that we did not have spineless, feckless losers surrounding George Washington when he tried to build this country. Thank God we had men with a spine that were capable of making tough, prudent decisions. Thank God. Now we are unfortunate to have those men in the Senate right now. All they have to do is flip off their brains and listen to President Trump. Folks, we have, and not only President Trump, all of us, the overwhelming majority of conservative voters, of MAGA America First voters, we are saying, go nuclear. Listen to the voters, listen to your president. He has the mandate. If President Trump says jump, I want them to say how high. That is how I want this relationship to be. Trump has the mandate, not these senators. Do what Trump says, do what we say. We gave him the mandate. Folks, we have a couple options here, right? There can be no agreement and the shutdown continues for another 12 months into midterms or longer, and the Democrats campaign on this and they hammer into the psyche of the American population for 12 months. Republican shutdown, Republican shutdown, Republican shutdown. They blame this on the Republicans. And you know what? That might work. That might propel the Democrats into midterm success. They might win midterms if this government stays shut down. It's a gamble. Who knows? Who knows? That's option number one. Option number two is the Senate Republicans. They capitulate to Chuck Schumer. They say, okay, Chuck Schumer, okay, we want to reopen the government. So what we're going to do now is capitulate to you. We're going to surrender, and we are going to pass these Obamacare subsidy extensions, which includes $50 billion per year for the health care of illegal aliens. That's option number two. And forgive me. Ronald Reagan, forgive me, please. I'm about to go scorched earth. If these Senate Republicans capitulate to Chuck Schumer, I hope we lose midterms. I hope every single one of these Senate Republicans gets kicked out of the Senate. If they give in, if they surrender to these radically progressive, anti-American, traitorous, communist freaks, I hope we lose midterms. I hope, because we do not need to have spineless losers in the Republican Party representing us in the Senate. Screw that. We are not doing that. So that's option number two. Option number three here is that Chuck Schumer capitulates to us. And Chuck Schumer, I don't know, he says, you know what? Okay, we're gonna reopen the government. I don't think that's going to happen. Option number 4, this is the only option here. The only legitimate, realistic option on the table. There's 4 options in total. The 4th one here is these Republican senators, they grow a spine. They realize that the fate of the nation is at stake. They realize that their job is to represent the will of the American people, that's us, and the will of the president, that's President Trump. Go nuclear, listen to him, do your job. Get off the sidelines. The fate of the nation is at stake. You got to save the country, because if you don't, we've all said this before, we've all gone over this before. If they do not go nuclear now and save the country now, it's only a matter of time. Could be 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Who knows, before the Democrats regain control of the House, Senate, White House, and then the Democrats go nuclear. And then they pass God knows how many articles of legislation aimed at explicitly, deliberately destroying this country, and that will happen. That is their goal. We have a chance to stop it now. We must take that opportunity. Otherwise, I don't care. Tell me, convince me. Why should I support Republican senators that will not support us? That will not support the president, that will not support this country, that will not support the republic? The burden is on me to support a bunch of rhino senators that can't even do their damn job and listen to the people or listen to the president? The consensus has arrived. Go nuclear. Why would I support these people if they're not supporting the republic? If they're not supporting the president who has the mandate from us? Why would I give a damn about these people? Do your job, save the country, end of discussion, period. That's it. That's how I feel. So I'm going to end this broadcast. I want to issue one final message. I said this at the end of today's video early on. Ladies and gentlemen, I implore you, call your senator, send an email, send a letter, pick up the phone, make a phone call, figure it out, express this. You need to express your discontent with these senators. If you have a senator who is smart enough, because there's 9 senators right now that actually are operating in accordance with President Trump's America First agenda. 9 of them do want to go nuclear. So if you've got one of those senators, good job for you. Don't worry about it. If you are living in a state where you have a Republican senator who is not doing his job, who is not agreeing with President Trump and us to go nuclear, call him, send an email, call him, call her, whoever it is, send an email, complain. It is your patriotic obligation to complain and be as annoying as possible. Send a letter. Tomorrow, send another one. Make a phone call tonight. Tomorrow, wake up and make another phone call. Do it again and again and again until these Republican senators wake the hell up and decide and realize that the only way to save this country in the short term as well as the long term is to go nuclear right now. If you have a child or a grandchild, because this is bigger than us, this is bigger than you, this is bigger than me. If you love this country, if you want this country to exist for your child or your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren, this must happen. There is a reason why President Trump is hammering this so hard. Every day he's giving speeches, nuclear. 10 times a day he's posting on Truth Social, it's time to go nuclear. If you want this country to exist in the glorious, beautiful way that it has for 249 years, for your children and your children's children, call your senator, send an email, send a letter, do what you need to do. It's time to go. Patriots, so in a final note here, Patriots, activate. Patriots, it is go time, okay? President Trump needs our help. We got to step up. We need to rise to the occasion. President Trump rose to the occasion for us. Now we need to rise to the occasion for him. And that's how I feel. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have some super chats here I want to take a look at before we wrap up. On a final note, everybody, make sure to like and to subscribe. Welcome to the show. If you liked this crazy monologue, or you like the coverage, make sure to like and to subscribe. We're doing this every day. Okay, we're trying to save the country here. So thank you for tuning in. We have a super chat here from Kale. He says Stefanik has announced her move to New York governor. Great ad out, save New York. We got to save the country. Thank you very much. Save the country right now. That's what's at stake, and New York. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Concrete Lizard says one government for the people, no party line to segregate, split the people. United we stand. Thank you, Concrete Lizard. Thank you very much. Left Ain't Right, he said, Matt, this is a plan between the two parties. They're both intentionally obstructing President Trump's agenda. That's what I truly believe. It's an act. I wonder how long they have this plan for. Well, who knows what's going on now? That might be the case. I'll tell you what, though. We saw that most certainly happen during President Trump's first term. We saw the rhinos under Paul Ryan's leadership. He was Speaker of the House at the time. We know for a fact the rhinos colluded against President Trump to stall and delay and undermine and subvert President Trump's America First agenda the first time he was in the White House. I don't want to jump the gun here. I don't want to jump to any conclusions here right now, but is that a component of what is happening now? I don't know. Could be the case. Could be the case. I sure hope not. At the time being, I think really the best hope, the best chance we have right now is to put pressure on these guys, on these Republicans in the Senate, pressure them. President Trump is very clearly wanting us to pressure these people. Make phone calls, send an email. That's my final note. Everybody, I want to say thank you very much for tuning in today. This was a big broadcast. Thank you very much for being here. This was a great Friday night. You know we're going to be back tomorrow. We always are, 7 days a week, pedal to the metal. We've got a country to save, and I'm very fortunate that you guys are here helping me do it. All of us are doing this together. So thank you all very much for being here. Like, subscribe, come back tomorrow. But until then, everybody, God bless and stay safe. And I'll see you tomorrow whenever I see you. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night.